Welcome to Bhagwan Ki Baatein, the YouTube channel where we talk only and only about God. In the ongoing series, we are narrating stories of great saints, and in the recent series, we are narrating some of the episodes from the life of the great Bhakt Narsi Mehta. In the last capsule, we learnt about how Narsi Mehta wrote a check to a merchant in the name of God, and how that merchant actually, when he reached the destination, he could actually encash the check, which Lord himself did. Let's see what happens next. Lord Krishna said to the Brahmin, "A Vaishnava Bhakt is continually indifferent to all earthly things. Although he is in worldly surroundings, he is without illusion and without desires. As the sea has no desire that the clouds should continually rain upon it, so Vaishnav does not allow his mind to be entangled in the snare of desire. Just as the sun has no desire to light a lamp in the house, so Vaishnav does not allow his mind to be entangled in the snare of desire. Those who have nectar to drink will make no effort for medicine. A Vaishnava Bhakt despises money and wealth, as the Lord of Lakshmi does not willingly accept the bakul and the shevanti flowers as more important than the tulsi. So Vaishnav does not consider in his mind that money or wealth is more important than worship. Those who have the knowledge of Siddhant will not listen to the reading of an immoral book. So Vaishnava Bhakt remains absorbed in the worship of Hari. Narsi Mehta, supremely indifferent to earthly things, does not care for money or property. How are we to help this character? It is a mother's characteristic that she desires to put ornaments upon her child. So Narsi Mehta has showed his favor towards me without limits. A father does not steal from his property and the wealth, so Narsi Mehta has placed great confidence in me. The compassionate one to the lowly, having said this, all the Vaishnavas were astonished. They exclaimed, "Narsi Mehta, the God-loving Bhakt, has made the cloud dark. Krishna subservient to him." Hari, after having performed this miraculous act, became invisible. The Brahmin felt it very strange, and his mind was astonished. Then he counted the money to see how much it was. He found it to be an immeasurable quantity. This made him exclaim to himself, "The Lord of Dwarika quickly met me," comforting himself in this way. The pious Vaishnava Bhakt satisfied the Brahmins with a feast. And then, while waiting at the beautiful city of Dwarika, the Brahmin distributed all the money to those worthy of receiving it. He offered it to those learned in the Shastras, to the Brahmins and to the priests who were pure and worthy of it. Then, going to the great door of the temple, with reverence he bowed to Lord of Dwarika. Taking leave of the god, the Brahmin started on his way home. Returning to Junagadh, he went to see Narsi Mehta. He told him everything about the event that had taken place. He said to him, "You are a God-loving Vaishnava Bhakt. You have made the Lord of Dwarika a debtor to you." Savalsa came quickly and met me. I placed your letter in his hand. In his love he bowed his head to it. Having read it, his mind showed his love. He at once took out 700 rupees and placed them in my hand. When I counted it out, it was beyond my power of reckoning the amount. When I looked back to him at that moment, he became invisible. Hearing these words of Brahmin, tears filled Narsi Mehta's eyes. He exclaimed, "O dweller of Dwarika, husband of Rukmani, brother of the helpless, delighter of the mind, filler of the universe, cloud of the mercy, you did weary yourself for my sake. You are the brother of the lowly, the ocean of mercy. Even the Vedas and the Shastras do not know the limits of your power. You are the indescribable, even by the four forms of speech. You alone are the savior of the world. O Lord of the helpless, lover of your bhaktas, you do carry out the wishes of your servants." Saying these things, tears flowed from his eyes, At once he steadied his mind and began to repeat names of God. So Narsi Mehta, the Vaishnav Bhakt, full of love, living at Junagadh, was continually in the worship of Sri Hari. He in the form whom forgiveness and peace continually dwell in personified form. In one whose characteristic is that he does not ask for anything and is always satisfied with a little. With complete bhakti, knowledge and indifference to earthly things, he worshipped Hari in his love. Although he had a family and a wife, he was unattached to anything. Just as when a lotus plant is growing in a lake, the water does not touch it. Or as when the sun is seen reflected in a jar of water, it does not become wet with it. Just as the wind being everywhere, the stormy wind cannot be confined, so a good man, although in the midst of domestic life, is untouched by the evil effects of it. Ignorant men say that the bhaktas of Hari are affected by domestic affairs, but such great revilers are the burden to the earth. Those who seek to stain the sky find that their own hands are stained. So he who reviles a Vaishnav Bhakt is guilty of wrong. So Narsi Mehta was indifferent to earthly things. His daughter had reached maturity and had to celebrate. He had an invitation from his new relative. At his own home he had neither raiments nor food. His wife said to him, "What have you planned to take as gifts?" He replied to her, "I have the name of Hari to take as gifts." Saying this to his wife, he hastened where his daughter was. Everybody had began to laugh when they saw Narsi Mehta and exclaimed, "What is the purpose of his having come here? As a matter of conventional formality, we sent him an invitation, but he's come with a tulsi garland around his neck and cymbals in his hand." Musical instruments sounded loudly, and his chief relatives assembled together, remarking, having no presents to give his new relatives, "Why has he come here?" The daughter, full of doubts in her heart, said privately to Narsi Mehta, "Bringing nothing, you're losing in reputation, and I feel ashamed." Hearing all what was said, Narsi Mehta replied, "Let each one tell what gifts he would like. Let each one write down what he wishes, and give the list to me." Hearing him say this, all the people broke out into a hearty laughter. And with these words, we will end this capsule here with a promise to be back with you in the next capsule as to what happens when Narsi Mehta reached empty-handed at his daughter's place. What would God now do for him as he's always been doing? Until we connect with you, goodbye, good luck, and Sadar Pranam.